Welcome to Robin's TV Extra Time, where Bristol City have just beaten Birmingham by 1-0 in the Sky Bet Championship. And to go through all the analysis with me is Lewis Carey. Good to see you, Lewis, and thank you for staying up. In the end, I thought City just deserved it, even though it was a big defensive performance.
Yeah, it's interesting because we say just deserved it with regards to the two game models, wasn't it? So Birmingham with the ball all game, you know, a lot of short passes, trying to make things happen, but not quite enough runs in behind, crosses in the box, etc. Or City, they were all against the ball today, weren't they? You know, a compact shape, hard to break down. Can we counter attack? Can we deal with crosses? So overall, I think you'll say an excellent clean sheet, an excellent result, an excellent week, and probably an excellent day for Armstrong as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, 3 wins in that week, and you know, in this division, it's just about getting the 3 points, and this was just a different way of getting across the line today, wasn't it?
100%, yeah. So it wasn't a super exciting game or anything. It wasn't like the counter-attacking against Southampton or, you know, Sheffield United away or end-to-end game against Hull. We said all games are different, and City are a little bit light on with the squad at the moment. So they had to go a different way about it. It was the 3rd game in a week, and they decided that they were going to sit in and say, go on then, break us down. And Birmingham just didn't have enough on the day to do that, and City had enough quality, enough lads who were happy to get hit by the ball, block crosses, head crosses and everything like that. And when they did have the chance to counter, they did really well on the one occasion and scored the goal.
Well done. Well, let's look at the stats, because you mentioned there about City being happy to be without the ball, and it shows in the possession stats. 72% possession for Birmingham, only 28 expected goals. Yeah, they've apparently had better chances, but look, like only 1 shot on target each. And you know what? The corners, Bristol City didn't have a single corner. The first corner came in the 34th minute of the game. But I think that's really important. That stat there, Lewis, Jules won 40 to Birmingham's 26. Most of those in and around their own box.
Yeah, very much so. Jules won interceptions, wasn't it? That was it. That was the story of the game today for City. You know, the expected goal shows you that City didn't have any opportunities. No corners, everything that you've just alluded to, and no possession. At times it's really interesting because the plaudits all went to say Mehmeti and Twine the other evening, isn't it? The way they took their goals and broke away, and how creative they both were. You know, whereas today you actually see a different aspect of their game, and at times you get a lot of players that can sulk, whereas they put in a proper team performance today, and it wasn't just about lads, it was players like that as well that did their part to help keep a clean sheet.
Absolutely. I want to talk about that because I think we've got a clip from the first half where they really did keep their shape, and their discipline was so important. And if we just run this clip, and then I'll also ask Bailey just to stop it right at the top of the clip. Just there, Bailey, if you can, just stop it there. And this was I'm just going to go back here, just the back 5, just in here, not really marking anyone, and even the Birmingham player who's in and around it is wanting to come to feet in there. And it's important when you haven't got anybody to mark, Lewis. You're being obviously a defender. That can be more difficult, and you have to keep your wits about you, and you have to keep your discipline even more, surely.
Yeah, well, you always want to be active, don't you? Yeah. So you feel like you need a job to do, and at times the outside centre-backs didn't, and a couple of times when Tanner did step in, you know, they had a couple of deep runners in behind, but it wasn't often at all. Here you see the right-back going into midfield to create a 3-2, a 3-2 build. But again, like you said, very little runners in behind. It is so comfortable and easy for Bristol City. And it's only when it comes back round, I think it comes back out, that somebody decides to run in behind. But again, the pressure from Mehmeti, Armstrong, Twine was really good. Yeah. However, like you alluded to, you can switch off at some point. Like McCrory did there. That would have been the only issue, and we said that was the only problem that Birmingham caused City in the first half.
Absolutely, and I mean that was the kind of story of the game in the second half. We talk a little bit more about in a minute, but the story of the first half was all about Sinclair Armstrong. I mean, coming in for Emil Rees, he had a really good cameo coming on against Southampton, and we were all hoping and praying that he could get his goal. And we thought, it might go off his backside or something. But I tell you what, it was a high quality finish, wasn't it?
Well, his cameo role against Norwich and Southampton were excellent, wasn't it? So you said all he needs now is a goal off air. I just thought there was loads of good about it. You know, his positioning here against the ball, just in case we need to play it into him, and he took the ball really well. But then as soon as Atkinson starts facing forward and comes out, he runs off the back of the defender. And he did it a couple of times early on. and they were a little bit scared of him, and that's why they dropped. But there's so much that's right or good about this goal. One, he runs to goal rather than a corner flag that we spoke about. He does a lot. Two, Atkinson's pass inside the fullback, but then it's this touch and the run across the defender, and like you alluded to after the game, it allowed him, with the the distance of his touch, it allowed him to run around the ball and finish.
Yeah, it's a lovely finish, and just takes a breath there, just has enough time to guide it in with pace. You know, the opportunities which the goalkeepers have saved is reason he hasn't been able to get the pace on the ball to beat the keeper, and it's so good to see him taking selfies with the crowd with a smile on his face. I think the relationship between him and the crowd would have been really good now, a lot better than it was before the game. And let's hope that he can take that forward, Lewis. Yeah,
very much so. So Atkinson said after the game, didn't he, in his interview, that he's battered and bruised from Armstrong thrown about in training all the time. Now, the fans saw that against Norwich, and they saw it against Southampton. Now, we saw it at times today, but you also need quality within that. You can't just be a batter and ram and throw people all over the place. There needs to be some kind of quality. And today he took the ball and used his body well, and he ran in behind and scored, you know, with the only shot on target. And I think the fans would be delighted for him. And it came at times, felt like it became a little bit mocking. Whereas now he's turned a corner, and they've you start getting that respect. Then the boy can play football, and the boy can run in behind, he can score goals.
Absolutely. Well, they've got noses in front, and then it was back to the wall. Second half, but when I say back to the wall, it seems like it was almost desperate defending, but it wasn't. We just picked out a couple of clips, Lewis, of City's defending, because Vitek didn't have to have a save to make, and that's because of the players in front of him. But a couple of times it went into the box, City defended it really well. First of all, substitute Mark Sykes. You know, it was this decent build-up from Birmingham. They got down in the wide area, early crossing the box, and his positional play was perfect there, wasn't it?
You look at every player. You know, when the ball goes wide, it's only Neto really who switches off, and the player like Gray runs off his back really well. That brings Atkinson out of the pitch. But if you do look at Dickey, Tanner, and Sykes, every one of them are goal side and not allowing their man to come in. And any other time the ball came in the box, we either got first contact or first from a header or a punch from the goalkeeper, and then a lot of the times as well, it was second phases like what Atkinson did there, and it's a brilliant, a brilliant block and a header then from Mayulu when he come on. So they were just really comfortable.
Yeah, and it's what Atkinson, it gets dragged in, but then to throw your body at it and get the blocking.
And even that, there's still 3 Bristol City lads on the line, and I just think the pressure built because Birmingham had comfortable possession. Yeah. City allowed them to have comfortable possession, and because City just kicked the ball away. That would be the only concern against, teams probably with a little bit more quality. However, I say that they've spent a lot of money, Birmingham, and we should be, I suppose, really pleased, really proud with the clean sheet.
Absolutely. I mean, that leaves City in 4th. They now go to Stoke on Saturday. They have a week's rest, which they've really earned. But Stoke sit in 5th. And so this is a massive game now in the Championship. Well, when you're in the playoff positions, every game's a big game.
It is, because everybody's going to want to, take the scalp of beating a team in the top 6, isn't it? I think everybody up there at the moment, from what I've seen, are up there on merit. Stoke don't concede too many goals. Mark Robbins has got a track history of, doing an excellent job, one in the Championship, but in the lower leagues as well. And a brilliant place to play football. Would be a great atmosphere up there. But all moving forward now, everything's looking exciting. We just need probably to get a few of the lads back from injury and just bolster the squad up a little bit. And I'm sure going into the winter period, it is going to look good for Bristol City at the moment.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Lewis. Really enjoyed your company today, and enjoyed your company as well. That's it for us at Robins TV Extra Time. So City go to Stoke unbeaten away from home, and off the back of 3 straight wins. Can they make it 4? Well, we'll find out next week. Take care.